of all, Mr. Bhargava, welcome to Business World.
Yeah. Thank you.
First of all, give our viewers a key takeover. The key aspects from the session that you had just.
No, I think it was a very interesting panel discussion covering viewpoints, across different industries and the technologies that are there, in consideration in Web 3.0, which is, blockchain, metaverse, IoT, and how some of these are looking at shaping up the existing industries and what kind of new business models perhaps can emerge in times to come. So getting a diverse set of viewpoints, I think was perhaps the biggest learning for me, and also had an opportunity of sharing the insights on how some of these things are being seen in the healthcare space and how some of these things can actually make the lives better for our patients.
All right. So when it comes to the data aspect, most of the time, and we see that the data is at this point, it is mostly with the pharma companies, the health data, or the hospitals, for that matter, and then they utilize the data for doing the clinical trials and all the other aspects are there. But when it comes to democratization of data, how do you think the blockchain or the decentralized part is going to play a role, and how will it empower the people in general?
See, I think the moment we can talk about decentralization of data, I think it puts the power back in the hands of the people to whom that data belongs. And when we kind of speak about this, with healthcare as a sector, I think it gives the control of the data which is belonging to the patients in their hands, with a right available with them to share it with whoever that they feel appropriate, for a period when they consider it is required, and then revoke the access when it is not required. So I think on that side, the decentralization of this data using Web 3.0 technologies is definitely possibly becoming a reality. There's also some work which is being done very actively by the government for enabling this through the ABDM program.
My next question is on the clinical trials, to be
Right.
specific. There has been reports of people lured into clinical trials, and then somehow they were not um, informed with the kind of repercussions that it might have. So when a patient or a person is given the medical records and the medical data, do you think then the person can monetize it when it is opting for a clinical trial or something like that? If it's happening, if there is a survey that is happening, or the pilot experiment is happening, if I can opt for it, then I can monetize that economy, that system can be fabricated. What are your views on that?
See, whatever that I'm going to share on this is speculative, because I don't really have a first-hand experience or exposure on this side. But I think where some of the Web 3.0 technologies possibly could help is ensuring that the consent which is being provided by the people are undergoing those trials is actually coming in from a system which is which cannot be mutated, which cannot be altered with. Also, the records that are getting generated are also being put across on, let's say, a blockchain, which is available for those people who have undergone those trials, and for anybody who decides to take an access or decides to pay for that access to get that information. That's something which possibly could help in solving the problem of where people were not informed of what they are kind of going to go through, as well as looking at how that information that has got generated basis those trials can potentially be monetized. But like I again said, that this is mostly an understanding based response. Haven't really seen it in action myself, so can't really comment with certainty.
Okay, on the similar lines, is there any, if you are aware of any government policies or regulations, or any thoughts from the government side that has been working on this thing, that the democratization of data, anything in the ABDM?
So I think that is being addressed by the government as a part of a much larger policy, which is the Data Privacy Bill, which not just healthcare but across any of the industries will give the power or the rights to the consumers on what data can be available with whom and for what purpose. So I think once hopefully that becomes a law, I think will probably make things better for the end consumers, for them to know what data is being recorded, for what purpose it is going to be recorded, how long it is going to be available, etc., etc. So I think that should make it better, perhaps much more consistent, uniform across the sectors, and definitely much more beneficial for the end customers, be it a consumer of any industry.
All right. So, just a follow-up question on the data privacy thing. So, the law that the government is coming out with is an inclusive law. Do you think there needs to be a precise law for the healthcare, in the lines of HIPAA or something like that? Because somehow in the inclusivity, that the niche or the fundamental of health, data, that can be ignored. Or what are your ideal, points that need to be there in the data privacy when it comes to?
I think that's a very, very broad question. But I think in terms of when you kind of look at the data privacy side, even while there is no equivalent regulation like HIPAA in the Western countries, the data that is there in with the healthcare providers is considered to be a very, very privileged information. So it is personal identifiable information plus personal health information. Hence, it is treated in that manner. The data privacy law probably gives additional coverage, which would help in protecting this information even more for certain sectors where this kind of information is there. And it's an evolving process. So for all once this is implemented, there could be certain amendments that would come in for giving additional safeguards in certain industries, which could be healthcare, financial services, e-commerce. You never know where that might come from.
So anything that you'd like to any comments that you'd like to leave our viewers with, especially around how blockchain can leverage the healthcare industry, to be precise?
See, difficult to
What
say.
impact?
Yeah, so I think where that is blockchain is a
Web 3%.
So Web 3.2 I think has great usage potential within the healthcare sector when you kind of look at from an IoT lens. So all the hospitals, all the large hospitals, all the smaller hospitals are moving towards where they can actually monitor the patient health at a much more real-time basis as compared to where there's a shortage of nurses, doctors are not available typically during the night times, and provide an adequate care. So leveraging some of these capabilities which are there in the Web 3.2 can definitely help in improving the end clinical outcomes, can help in delivering a better patient experience, as long as these technologies become more accessible, more affordable to everybody.
All right.